Soul is as ready to escape as my body.
Fear is why you fell.
No, I'm not afraid. I'm angry.
Why do we fall? You do not fear death. You think this makes you strong. It makes you weak without the most powerful impulse of the spirit. The fear of death.
I fear dying in here while my city burns. There's no one there to save it.
Then make the climb.
What does that mean?
Rise.
No.
Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today? Tommy Nation Politics. The son-in-law of John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, used the phrase "Tree of Liberty" in a 1787 letter to William Stephen Smith. I do not know whether it is to yourself or Mr. Adams I am to give my thanks for the copy of the new Constitution. I beg leave through you to place them where due. It will be yet 3 weeks before I shall receive them from America. There are very good articles in it, and very bad. I do not know which preponderate. What we have lately read in the history of Holland, in the chapter on the stadtholder, would have sufficed to set me against a chief magistrate eligible for a long duration if I had ever been disposed towards one. And what we have always read of the elections of Polish kings should have forever excluded the idea of one continuable for life. Wonderful is the effect of impudent and persevering lying. The British ministry have so long hired their gazetteers and repeat and model into every form lies about our being in anarchy. The world has at length believed them. English nation has believed them. The ministers themselves have come to believe them. And what is more wonderful? We have believed them ourselves. Yet, where does this anarchy exist? Where did it ever exist except in the single instance of Massachusetts? And can history produce an instance of rebellion so honorably conducted? I say nothing of its motives. They were founded in ignorance, not wickedness. God forbid we should ever be 20 years without such a rebellion. The people cannot be all and always well informed. The part which is wrong will be discontented in proportion to the importance of the facts they misconceive. If they remain quiet under such misconceptions, it is lethargy, the forerunner of death to the public liberty. We have had 13 states independent, 11 years. There has been one rebellion. That comes to one rebellion in a century and a half for each state. What country before ever existed a century and a half without rebellion? And what country can persevere its liberties if their rulers are not warned from time to time that their people preserve the spirit of resistance? Let them take arms. The remedy is to set them right as to facts, pardon and to pacify them. What signify few lives lost in a century or two? The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. It is its natural manure. Our convention has been too much impressed by the insurrection in Massachusetts. And in the spur of the moment, they are setting up a kite to keep the hen-yard in order. I hope in God this article will be rectified before the new Constitution is accepted.
Don't worry. Nothing is going to fundamentally change when I'm president. That's right.
Neither you, Simon Peter, nor Judas, nor the Romans, nor the 12 nor the priests, nor the scribes, nor the Pharisees can understand what help, understand what power is, understand what glory is, understand at all. We have been spattered with innocent blood. We have been dragged through the slime and the mud. We have been spattered with innocent blood. We have been dragged through the slime and the mud. Starting with the Native Americans, then enslaving the African Americans, then invading the Middle Eastern countries for oil, profit, resources, funneling the wealth to the elite oligarchs who have claimed a centralized banking system that holds us all in slavery. Did we do this on purpose or merely for convenience? Is a centralized bank so fun, isn't it? I mean, I give them pesos and then they give me dollars. But what's the catch? The catch is we're all sharecroppers in a free land, a land called the United States of America, where we were supposed to be born free, with liberty and a pursuit of happiness that drives us to a rugged individualist mentality of success and supremacy. Hearts, minds, and bodies working together for the good of democracy and freedom. Is this where we're at now? Or are we making negotiations of our values? Are we accepting life as it has been given us, not fighting back? Are we tired of politics? Are we tired of all the crap that's going on? I'm tired of it too, guys. I'm tired of politics as well. And you know what? That's why I started Tommy Nation Politics. Because I am tired of politics. Politics is fake. It's rhetoric that is used to satiate poor people and trick them into thinking that things are going to change when nothing will fundamentally change. And you tell that to your owners. That's what politics is. Trump did one good thing with his presidency. He tore the beautiful veil from the face of our ugly political system, our systemically racist, completely corrupt political system. He tore all of the conventional wisdom and social norms veneers off of it. All of the nice, flighty, fanciful words that Barack Obama spoke as he was drone striking 8 countries, and burning to a cinder families and farmers. He ripped it all off. It's all unraveling, this illusion. Meanwhile, some of us are making decisions based out of fear that try to keep us as slaves. I've said this once before when Barack Obama was president. Harriet Tubman must have had to pull some niggas to freedom. I'm gonna pull y'all to freedom too. You guys are not going to hear the end of this. For 4 years, I will reveal everything Joe Biden is. He will be exposed. Now, the mainstream media doesn't think so. The mainstream media spent 4 years, first of all, questioning the election of Donald Trump, wondering if it was the Russian interference and Putin and the Kremlin. Then they whipped together with the CIA and the spooks of the unelected deep state a phony Russiagate scandal and a dossier called the Steele dossier, where they claimed that Trump was being peed on by Russian hookers. Did anyone see this tape? No. Is the tape real? No. Was it all lies? Yes. They say Trump lies. But they lie. Constantly. They were so desperate to get him out. Why? Why were they so desperate to get Trump out? Isn't he a good old boy? Isn't he an oligarch? That's what I thought. But then he started talking about the military-industrial complex and how they won't let him get out of Syria. Then they lied about the gas attacks was Assad, saying Assad gassed his own people, when clearly we were the ones that did it. We did it. Big surprise, right? We also, without the president's permission, funneled food trucks. We packed food trucks full of arms, weapons. The CIA did this and tried to push them through Venezuela to do a coup so they could appoint a president that was unelected by anyone in Venezuela. It almost worked, except for the fact that nobody in Venezuela recognized him as the president. And he was out his ass, and nobody, he was like, hey, I'm the president. No, we don't know who the fuck you are. Yeah, that's right, guys. It's all unraveling. Nobody's buying our bullshit anymore, except for a few of us. They're called partisans. Now, you must be at brunch, liberal partisans, thinking that Joe Biden is now going to restore democracy and give us great standing in the world as it once was with Barack Obama's expansion of the war, drone striking programs. I mean, I already heard today, The View. Everybody's so happy that his head of the Homeland Security and his Secretary of Defense is going to be a woman. Oh my God, now women are going to be able to drone strike 8 different countries and burn families alive. Oh my God, that's diversity, isn't it? I just can't get past the fact that you guys don't give a shit about families dying, people in slavery in Gaza, our own countrymen starving as they slip into poverty. All you give a shit about is identity politics and the fact that Joe Biden's gonna now let women bomb the Middle East. I mean, it's so funny because I guess my eyes are open and the mainstream media isn't even pretending anymore that we're doing all of these things. They're literally saying we are. It's just gonna be done by women now, and gays, and black people. We're gonna have a diverse cabinet of murderers and psychopaths. It's gonna be so great. And I'm listening to them, and I'm like, wow, you guys are psychos. Get out of the fucking Middle East. We have no business being there. But you guys hear the same shit, and you say to yourselves, oh my God, girl power. We're gonna bomb the Middle East with women now. Like, wow. Well, I got news for you guys. I'm not a Republican. I'm not gonna be, just because I think the election was rigged, because it was, they've been rigging the election for 4 years. With the things I just listed, the phony Russiagate scandal, the dossier, funneled billions of dollars in TV ads. They've made alliances with oligarchs and elitists all over the world to get Donald Trump out of office. That I don't even know why, honestly. What, I mean, was it worth it? For control, maybe. But I will say this, the Republicans now don't want to vote in elections because they think they're rigged. They won't vote in the runoff elections in Georgia. Guys, that's exactly what the establishment wants you to do. The establishment wants you to give up. The establishment wants you to be tired of politics. The establishment wants you to not focus, not expose, and not think freely. When you're not doing that, they have all the power. Then they can do whatever they want. There's no dissent. Everyone doesn't care about politics anymore. Everybody's so tired of politics. Nobody cares. The elections are rigged. I guess we're just going to give up exactly what they want. Because then there's no dissent. There's no voices. There's no one to stop them from doing whatever the fuck they want to do. So, that's a bad decision, Republicans. If I were you, I'd get my ass to Georgia right now and vote in those runoff elections. Rigged or not. Because that's your fucking civic duty. You have another civic duty, too. When tyranny shows its head, cut it off with the blood of liberty. The tree of liberty must be watered with the blood of tyrants. I have been spattered with innocent blood. I have been dragged through the slime and the mud. But I will not be I will not be. The one that gives up. I will be the one that declares war on you. War is coming. Establishment, you might think that you won. We got Bernie Sanders to genuflect to a corporatist neoliberal warmonger. You might have thought you won when you had all of the black people in South Carolina literally put their Uncle Tom hats on and give Joe Biden the last place guy in the primaries, the nomination of Democratic Party. You might have thought you won when you lined up all of your mainstream media cronies and decided to do a phony Russiagate scandal. You might have thought you won when you inflicted unconstitutional mandates and curfews under the guise of a pandemic safety. You might have thought you won when you got a CARES Act that funneled upward transfer of wealth not seen since the Gilded Age, while you pretended to give enhanced unemployment to poor people, never before seen, so plentiful to take care of the American people. You might have thought you won with your tricks. But I have declared war on you. The war is here. And I will not stop. You will go down, establishment. You're going down. You're going down. I'm going to open some eyes, and you can't ban us all from Facebook and Twitter. I'm going to make more of me. Me. It's purpose that drives us, mister. Purpose that defines us. Purpose that guides us. It's purpose.
Then fear will slide you again.
We're gonna bring this matrix to its fucking knees. Domination politics.
What up, guys?
I declare war on you.
With Domination Politics. How's it going today? Good? So happy that y'all can make it. Got some news for y'all today with AOC, Jeff Bezos, Major Retailer Green, and a whole bunch of other wonderful people. Guys, the reason why I'm doing this podcast right now is because there's some things that are coming to my attention. Things of an un-American nature. We seem to be worshiping the very people that are putting us into slavery, just like so many civilizations before wrongly did. The Egyptians, the Romans. Now, I go across Facebook a lot when I'm not banned, and I see a lot of really disturbing things. One thing yesterday I saw that was really disturbing was this guy who was talking about how I don't understand why the Biden's opposers act like as if anything will ever change. Don't they know it's all in vain? Stop right there with the Biden's opposers. He's literally said this, the quote, Biden's opposers. The posers of a Biden. As if Biden was the United States of America. As if Biden was, we the people that establish justice, the people that ensure the domestic tranquility and our posterity. Literally, these people have forsaken all of our principles and values and only just gone towards personalities that don't give a shit about us, never have, they continuously lie only to protect their own interests. Not only are we eating it up, but we're actually defending these people to the point where we're literally defending these people at the expense of the people that we love, our family, our friends. These things that are gifts of God. It's disappointing, guys. Guys, I'm a working class individual. For 15 years of my life, I have diligently worked within the most noble professions, newly proclaimed an essential service, contribution to society, of course, service industry. I worked as a Jello shot boy, maitre d', bartender, master mixologist, sommelier. Variously unique roles entailing eerily analogous employment duties, i.e. refilling drinks, proposed recommendations, enhancing guest and customer experiences, dealing with Karens, fake laughing at horribly conventional quips, echoed 1,000 times before this present baby boomer schmuck decided to demonstrate his badinage in a mediocre attempt at charming other members of his dinner party. I've been through it all, guys. All this fast-paced stop and start hullabaloo, never-ending repetition, hamster on a wheel, routine theatric. Slowly, manifests, I don't know how else to put it, but a sociopathic, dark-humored, cynical outlook towards the vast majority or attitude characteristics regarding previously stated society. There's no doubt in my mind that all of these practices that I picked up as a waiter and maitre d', jello shop boy, they equip me with some useful set of tools, right? The mundane routine of working and contributing to society gave me amazing transformative potential by way of discipline and practice in the art of etiquette, dramatically enhancing all aspects of home economics. But all magic comes with a price. The conventional wisdom and the social norms would deem this anxiety, frustration, and sweat of my labor as making a meaningful contribution to society. It's a bedrock characteristic of American life. Showered in glory. Associated with not being a lazy bum, a welfare queen, a parasite of the system. Parasite of the system, Mr. Anderson. What is the system that we hold so dear? More dear than our friends and family. A society that cherishes itself the greatest and most powerful constitutional republic of Earth's existence. A bastion of liberty that spreads democracy across the Middle East and across Europe, across Asia, like a shining beacon on a hill does. Even in the cold and desolate ether of the Southern Hemisphere, and to every godless and heathen non-Judeo-Christian island of North Atlantic. We spread our democracy. We shine our light of democracy and liberation. You can hear the Republican sycophants bleat their nationalistic propaganda programming by way of their ridicule for less fortunate and poverty-stricken countrymen, subsequently having to feed their own families by way of government programs. Welfare queen, pull yourselves up by your bootstraps. It's God's will. You must have offended the Lord God. In reality, tough times have fallen upon us all. Every single human being that has no immunity to life's hills and valleys has come upon hard times, especially in this COVID pandemic crisis. And thankfully, the Founding Fathers equipped our government with the mission statement necessary to combat such adversity. Protect the common defense. Promote the general welfare. Secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. What our Founding Fathers didn't count on was the acquiescence of the American people to enable two completely and totally corrupt political parties. In the long history of the United States, only one president, George Washington, did not represent a political party. To quote George Washington's 1796 farewell address, however political parties may now and then answer popular ends, they are likely in the course of time and things to become potent engines by which cunning, ambitious, and unprincipled men will be enabled to subvert the power of the people and to usurp for themselves the reins of government, destroying afterwards the very engines which have lifted them to unjust domination. That was September 17th, 1796. And look what has happened since. Look what has come to fruition since. Nothing but meager arguments, completely extremist points of view that seek to only divide and conquer the American people. Is this what our Founding Fathers intended? I think not. In fact, they warned against it very hardcore. Years later, an unthinkable sequence of events such as the Civil War, the slavery of my people, the concentration of power in Washington, D.C., not to mention the centralized banking system, magnanimously put together by Alexander Hamilton, the guy who everybody celebrates right now in that stupid musical, precipitously started to germinate ingredients for the two-party duopoly system that we currently maintain through puppetry of elitist wealth. Only after Great Britain and revolutionary France went to war in 1793 did the Democratic Republican Party really begin to form itself as a true opposition party in American politics against what would become known as the Federalist Party, some ongoing debates over domestic issues, like the creation of a national park or bank, and other economic policies became intertwined with divisive foreign policy questions, such as whether the United States should enter the war on the united side of the French Republic. And that was the beginnings of power. And that was the beginnings of our subversive and dominant culture of political parties, declaring war and economic practices. It was also first to unite the loyalist admirers of European society in common brotherhood, in effort to form and buffer the former British noble interests of wealth and station. Because don't forget, guys, we were fought that all men were created equal. In the British Commonwealth and the monarchy, there was a caste system. People of stations could only hang out with and marry people of stations. The loyalists wanted to bring that back to our country. Because remember, there's only two different kinds of people in this country that have ever been. There have been loyalists and there have been patriots. And that, my friends, is where our trouble has evolved. Thusly, where battle lines were drawn between the commoner and the elites. A system they have maintained uninterrupted until this very present moment. The transparent robbing of our treasury in March and the funneling of wealth to the elite donors via COVID relief packages has not only transparently been looked at, observed by yours truly, and a whole bunch of other God-fearing patriotic Americans, but it's actually accelerated. The funneling of wealth has accelerated. In the meanwhile, we are fighting over Democrat and Republican like either of these parties even give a shit about us. It's disturbing. It makes me wonder if we even deserve the country. If we even deserve the country of which we were supposed to be, I don't know, bequeathed. I know, I'm getting old English words because I started talking old English words. Bequeathed. Inherited. Our inheritance, guys. It's incumbent upon whether or not we are smart enough to prevail the principles and values bequeathed unto us by our forefathers. Let's just put it that way. In the meantime, we have drama queens, liars, propagandists, snake oil salesmen, and all the like, making sure that we take our eye off the ball and maintain a complete dominance towards personalities and power, and not focus on the things that matter: friends, family, freedom, liberty, and life. It is a shameful display I see before me. That's why I live streamed for you today. Chat's open. If you care to have any comments or retorts for me, guys. But this is why I'm doing this today, because I don't care how much you guys yell at me because I put up bad memes or try to crush me or censor me. I'm only going with the heritage of my founding fathers. The founding fathers established life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that every man is free under the law, and that all men are created equal under the law. Law and order, tremendous, winning.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Hey everybody, thanks for joining. Hi everyone, happy snow day. I hope everyone's been able to kind of take today, at least if you're in the Northeast, at least if you're in New York. We've had a ton of snow come down over the last couple days. Hey everybody, how's it going? Oh my gosh, all these little waves. Hi Adhikar. Hi Dr. Heather. Hi everyone.
This is what American politics has become, guys.
Hey everybody.
This is what American politics has become now.
Someone said, how's Deco in the snow? He's loving, Dan Price asked, how's Deco in the snow? He's loving it. We got Deco last January, actually. You know, he got a little bit of snow experience when he was a little, but when we go through trauma, other people as individuals, there were other members of Congress, there were staffers, there were children.
Sorry, I had to fast forward the bullshit.
all of this is to say is that my story is just one story. It's not the only story, nor is it anywhere close to the central story. But the reason why I think it's important to share is because so many of the people who helped perpetrate and who take responsibility for what happened in the Capitol are trying to tell us all to move on. And they're trying to tell us to forget about what happened. They're trying to tell us that it wasn't a big deal. They're trying to tell us to move on without any accountability, without any truth telling, or without actually confronting the extreme damage, physical harm, loss of life, and trauma that was inflicted on not just me as a person, not just other people as individuals, but on all of us as a collective and on many other people. And that we cannot move on without accountability. We cannot heal without accountability. And so all of these people who want to tell us to move on are doing so at their own convenience. The other thing that I want to say is that to friends
that I want to
close to me,
say,
I want to apologize to them in advance. Sorry if my voice is shaking, but if you are learning things about me in the course of this live that you didn't know before.
How to stop buffering issues anywhere, anytime, instantly.
oh, YouTube. Of course you're going to have a commercial right in the middle of this. She's in the middle of sobbing and telling us her story, YouTube.
And it's
Don't
not,
give a shit.
a thing about hiding or anything like that. But
So let me just stop this right here because I have some comments to make. First of all, the reason why I bring up AOC right now is because at this present moment, she has been very dramatic, okay? She said that she was trying to be murdered, okay? That turned out not to be true. She blamed Ted Cruz for organizing a murder squad. Not true. She's become a drama queen. She's going through this entire story, right? Sobbing. Where's my Medicare for all? Where's my $2,000 checks? Where's my Green New Deal? Do you guys understand the priorities that a public servant must prioritize? This public servant must deliver to the representatives, her constituents, the goods. That's why we sent her to office. We sent her to office to deliver the goods. Okay? So Jimmy Dore did a force the vote, hashtag force the vote, in saying that she would have to not vote for Nancy Pelosi as House Speaker so she could have leverage, because political leverage is what we need to get things done. She'd take that leverage and we would have Medicare for all as a vote. She refused. She voted for Nancy Pelosi. Fuck us, right? The Democrats then proceeded to say $2,000 checks would go out the door on day one. Now they're negotiating with Republicans on whether or not that's even the case, even though they have the House and the Senate and the presidency. Do you guys understand? Their priorities are falling apart. But you can listen to these I hope these sob stories feed your kids. I hope these sob stories give you health care, because she's not going to. Let's continue.
Sometimes you just can't tell the same story over and over. So anyways, the reason I say this and the reason I'm getting emotional in this moment is because these folks who tell us to move on, that it's not a big deal, that we should forget what's happened, or even telling us to apologize, these are the same tactics of abusers. And I'm a survivor of sexual assault. And I haven't told many people that in my life. But when we go through trauma compounds on each other. And so whether you had a negligent or, a neglectful parent, or whether you had someone who was verbally abusive to you, whether you are a survivor of abuse, whether you experience any sort of trauma in your life, small to large, these episodes can compound on one another. There's no, something really big happening to you, and then you deal with it, and then you move on, and then when something else happens to you, you deal with that, and then you move on. All of our experiences make us who we are. And
I agree.
And that's also to say that most people live with trauma.
I agree, OC. Most people do live with trauma. Most people live with a lot of trauma, and I really, sincerely, I'm not making fun. I'm saddened that you're a survivor of sexual abuse. That sucks. And I pray for you. I don't really pray, but you know what I mean. The liberal version of pray. I think about that and I'm sad. Can you think about this, AOC? Can you think about everybody was working in March at their jobs, and then people had small businesses, people had families, they were eating. People were thinking about going to vacations. People were thinking about hanging out with their friends. People were thinking about what they were going to do after they got off. The next day, businesses were closed down. Nobody had a source of income. People no longer had businesses. People no longer had a way to make money. People didn't know what they were going to do. People didn't even know what was going on half the time, because half of us don't watch what mainstream media. We already know. We already know what they're saying. And a few months ago, the mainstream media was laughing at Trump, talking about how stupid and racist Trump was for closing down the Chinese airports. Oh, that orange guy is so stupid. Close down the Chinese airports. What a racist. Oh, yeah. Whatever. He is a racist, right? Anyway, back to work. This is what we did. March comes along. March 11th comes along. Everything's closed. We don't know what we're going to do. We have no idea what we're going to do. None. We look to our government, the government that's supposed to defend us from threats, foreign and domestic. We look to our government, and the government in 48 hours bails out Wall Street and the banks on March 11th. And we still don't know what we're going to do. On March 22nd, the government buffers the stock market, prints more money from the Treasury, and buffers that with government money so the stocks don't fall. And we're still out of jobs. We have no idea what we're going to do. And our businesses are dying. At the end of March, Nancy Pelosi gives the $2.3 trillion CARE Act, which gives enhanced unemployment to people. Good, because we haven't had jobs for 3 weeks, guys. We haven't had jobs for 3 weeks. And you guys have done nothing to help us. We've been sitting here wondering how we're going to feed our kids, wondering how we're going to keep the doors open in our businesses, wondering what we're going to do because we're just normal people and we had no idea. You closed our businesses down. You told us we couldn't work anymore. You told us we couldn't make money. You told us we couldn't feed our kids. How are we going to do these things, guys? The first thing you do is go to the banks and Wall Street and buffer their fucking bullshit. And then the third time, AOC, we're pretty traumatically fucking traumatized. Unenhanced unemployment, and then $1,200. $1,200. That's traumatizing, AOC. You know how traumatizing that is? That's so traumatizing, AOC, that you yourself were railing on the freaking House floor, talking about how this was the biggest upward transfer of wealth since the Gilded Age. You did. You, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, stood on the House floor and yelled your lungs out, saying this was a wrong thing to do. And how dare we abandon the American people? We turn our backs on the American people. And then you voted for it unanimously. That's traumatizing, AOC. Then we had enhanced unemployment. And Nancy Pelosi had a CARES Act, and then she had the HEROES Act come out, which disappeared out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden, the unemployment just dropped off. And you sent us back to work in jobs that had no freaking clients. You sent me back to work at a restaurant with 25% capacity, AOC. You said, go make money. Go make money. We went to go make money. There was no one to freaking eat at the restaurant, AOC. You literally pushed us off a cliff. The unemployment ended, and you pushed us out there with no way to us to make money. You literally just destroyed our business. You destroyed our entire way of making money. And then you pushed us out there to make money. That's traumatizing. I'm traumatized. I'm traumatized that literally you ended the enhanced unemployment. You pushed me out there. You told me to make money. And then I go to my restaurant and there's 5 tables. What the fuck how am I supposed to make money if there's 25% capacity? You push me out into nothing. You push me out into a desert, a desolate area. That's traumatizing. Can you understand, guys, why I'm upset right now at AOC? Can you understand? So I understand your trauma, AOC. I was not taken advantage of sexually against my will. Anyway, I shouldn't joke about that. I'm a guy. I apologize, guys. I'm being a stupid numbnut brain. There's no reason to joke about that. It's not joking wise. Joking is sometimes how I get my mind off of like really serious issues that I don't want to handle also. So just real talk. But that's not funny. And neither is this. So I'm just going to say, what are we going to do about this? We're going to continuously try to blame the other party. That's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to blame the other party. Is that going to help? No, it's not. But we're going to have AOC continue to talk about how we're going to change things through how.
And it's not to, and that doesn't even diminish, any of the trauma that any one of us may have been through. But it is to say that there is a community of so many people who can understand. So when I see a party who cheered on violence that killed 5, maybe now 6 people, a second Capitol police officer took their life in the aftermath of the attack this past week, when we are still losing people, when we don't know how many people are going to develop PTSD after what happened, when we don't know how many people are still hospitalized. I mean, there are people who, sure, they may not have passed away, but they lost fingers, they lost eyes. And these people are just trying to tell us it's not a big deal. And they're trying to say, you're making too big a deal over it. Or my favorite, this past week.
What's up, guys? Robbie here. If you want to learn how to make
$1,000
online in 2021,
I love these YouTube commercials, guys. This is so funny, honestly.
Nothing to do with Amazon, nothing to do with
it's just like so funny. How do you do that? How do you place these commercials, YouTube? Is this how you monetize stuff?
Oh, by the
this
way,
is capitalism, by the way,
guys.
guys.
Actually encouraged people to threaten members of Congress or tweeted out the location of the speaker are now telling me to apologize for saying and speaking truth to what happened. These are the tactics of abusers, or rather, these are the tactics that abusers use. And so when I see this happen, how I feel and how I felt was not again. I'm not going to let this happen again. I'm not going to let it happen to me again. I'm not going to let it happen to the other people who've been victimized by this situation again. And I'm not going to let this happen to our country ever. I'm not going to let it happen. And so.
And so she's not going to let that happen ever again. So she's thankfully, even though she talked about how the CARES Act was the most upward transfer of wealth not seen since the Gilded Age, and she voted for it, she can still do something about this. You know why, guys? Because this was her rival competition opposite party. So with that in mind, now, you want to freaking do Medicare for all? You want to put Medicare for all on the House floor? You want to do a Green New Deal? You want to legalize marijuana? No. But hey, can we go after our rival competition? Can we go after our rival party? Hell yeah, we can. We can do that all day long, guys. And that's why George Washington wanted us to stay away from the political parties, because it's no longer about serving the American people. It's about only serving their interests and keeping them into power. That's what I've been trying to explain. This isn't a game. So now in the New York Post, y'all might recognize the New York Post because this was the same post that came out with the Hunter Biden story that Jack Dorsey and what's his name, Zuckerberg, decided to ex-nay on their media platforms. You know what? The New York Post has been in a business since the 1800s, just so you know. It is not some conservative rag. It is a legitimate newspaper. It's as a legitimate newspaper as the New York Times, okay? The New York Post and the New York Times are both as legitimate as each other. So you can take that how you will, okay? Take it how you will. Now you can say they're both illegitimate and they're both fake news, but you can't read the New York Times and not read the New York Post. And I choose to read both because I'm smart enough, I feel, to know when they're lying to me. But this is just straight up reporting, guys. So AOC blasted her for her trauma in the Capitol riots. Says Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is being dubbed Alexandria Ocasio-Smollett as details emerge that she exaggerated the extent of her trauma from the Capitol, not given that she was not at the site of the siege, but in an office in a building nearby. In the 4 weeks since the riot, Ocasio-Cortez has said repeatedly that she feared for her life on January 6th as a result of a very close encounter. This week, the progressive politician shared more details of that encounter during the Instagram Live, which I just showed you guys. Ocasio-Cortez was in her office, which is located in the Cannon Building, when rioters stormed the Capitol. The building is part of the overall Capitol complex, but it is not within the Capitol building itself. She had been barricaded in her office for hours when a man who turned out to be a Capitol Police officer rushed into her office to direct her to a safer location for lawmakers. The officer, AOC said, had anger and hostility in his eyes, making her question if she was trying to help her or put her in a vulnerable situation. So this is where we're at, guys. There was a Capitol Police officer that came to assist her. She automatically says there was hatred and hostility in her eyes. Well, maybe that's because you won't put Medicare for all on a vote. Maybe that's because you won't legalize marijuana. Maybe that's because you continuously call yourself a progressive, AOC, but you don't do any progressive legislation ever. And then you rail against how a bill is going to be the upwardmost transfer of wealth not seen since the Gilded Age. And then you vote for it in a unanimous voice vote to where we try not to track your votes. However, they're all unanimous. So maybe that's why he was hostile. Maybe that's why he was hostile. So see, none of this makes any sense. It's all conjecture. And as sad as her story is as being a traumatized, person who was on the other end of sexual harassment, I only see someone who's using stories and using trauma as a way to get out and distract from her own responsibilities and duties as a public servant to us. And that's also what I see about Major Taylor Greene. I see the same thing. Now, guys, we're going to be back at 8 o'clock. I try to do hour by hour because I want to have the energy. And plus, I'm going to have guests on tonight. But I want you guys to think about this. I want you guys to think about what's more important. Friends, family, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, or the Republicans and the Democrats. Think about those things. Think on those things. Think on things that are good, that are pure, that are noble. Domination politics.